All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the gold medal match here at the 2017 Pan American Cup in Gatineau, Quebec at the Robert Gertin Center. We have tonight for you Argentina, who has swept through this tournament like a buzzsaw, taking on the Puerto Ricans in their stylish red-blue uniforms with the big stars on the hip. Puerto Rico earned their way here with a solid defeat of Cuba last night, 3-1, while the Argentines swept Canada, advancing to this match. Brenda, I'm joined by Brenda Willis. My name is Kerry McLean. Welcome aboard, and turn it over to you, Brenda, for some thoughts before we get started.
Well, leading into this, Puerto Rico defeated the United States in the quarterfinal by a score of 3-1. And they got better every set. They finished it at a 25-14 margin, so a very strong statement. Argentina's had a very easy time. They had a bye at the end of their undefeated pool, made it straight into the semifinals, and took care of Canada in no uncertain terms with set scores of 25-23, great first set, but then 25-15 and 25-10, so very authoritative. So that's how they got here, and we're expecting, based on the performances throughout the tournament, that Argentina is the team to watch for.
All right, we're going to go courtside right now. We're going to go courtside right now to announcer Frank St. Denis, who is announcing Andrew Robb.
Second referee de la République Dominicaine, Jose Beltre. Et maintenant pour les alignements partants de chaque équipe. And now for the Lima, number 14, Paulo Clare, number 15, Luciano De Checo, number 18, Martin Ramos, the starting libero, number 16, Alexis Gonzalez, head coach, Julio Velasco. Et maintenant, l'alignement partant pour le Puerto Rico. Le numéro 1, Steven Morales. Le numéro 2, Edgardo Goas. Le numéro 3, Pablo Guzman. Le numéro 11, Maurice Torres. Le numéro 13, Sequiel Sanchez. Le numéro 14, Manix Roman. Le libéro, Dennis Del Valle. L'entraîneur-chef, Ramon Hernandez.
And as usual, a great job by courtside announcer Francois Saint-Denis. And tonight we see the exact lineups for both Puerto Rico and Argentina that were fielded for their semifinal match. So this indicative of the fact that this is an A-team versus A-team matchup rather than a developmental situation, which we've seen with other teams where the roster rolls. Brenda, you were saying Argentina is the favorite to beat. What does Puerto Rico have to do to stop Argentina?
Well, they have to be right on point with their serving, for one thing. Through the tournament, they had some real streaks of good serving, very good serving, but then also streaks of misses. So I think that their consistency there is going to be very, very critical. They also are extremely powerful hitters. They're not overly high, but the sophistication of the Argentinian offense is going to be hard to stop.
Great job at stopping that pipe ball right there by Argentina. Dig by De Checo, tracked down by Fernandez. Free ball over by De Checo. Guzman off the block and out of bounds. So if you notice that Fernandez was on the court to start the match rather than the announced Gonzalez as a libero, Gonzalez comes on now as the receiving side of a libero tandem. I believe Argentina is the only team doing this in the tournament that I noticed.
Yes, I believe you're correct. There's been a couple of situations where our second liberos have been on the floor, but it's been both ends of the rally when they come in.
Dig in the back row by the setter Goas. And the ball out of bounds as Torres pointing at the Argentinian block. In case you missed it, I think just turning over to Frank the time, the up official for this match is Canadian Andrew Robb from Toronto. And thrilling for him to work the final of an international match here in Canada. De Valle with the bump set high to the left side, and Guzman unable to get fingers on that.
Yes, Guzman's going to need to use hands to score. He's just not high enough to intimidate the block. He's going to have to frustrate it by varying his timing and just busting.
And just looking at the Argentines, there's a serve long by Lima. Those are men out there. No offense to any of these players, but it seems like we've seen boys coming into men for most teams, but this is a very veteran team and certainly not going to give anything away.
On both sides of the net, actually.
Big put down in the middle right there by Claire.
And if you're just joining us, I do want to point out number 15, the captain, DeCecco. He is considered, if not the very best, certainly one of the very best quarterbacks in the world. Unbelievable what he can do with his hands.
Great little back right hand dump by his counterpart for Puerto Rico, Goaz, turning that ball over his shoulder with his right hand.
That's a tricky little dump there on the second ball.
More of a finesse done than a jam play. Big swing by Guzman, and he goes to his teammates going, come on guys, we've got this.
And Gonzalez, the libero, immediate looking over at number 12, Lima, expecting that he would be engaged in that reception.
And Gonzalez, the veteran at 39 on the Argentinian side. Oh, great change of pace. Picked up on the right side by Torres, out to Sanchez, and he'll get a second attempt. Argentina not happy about that. Ball off the block. Puerto Rico elects to let it land, but it catches the line.
Great penetration by Sola and Ramos there. Huge press over the net. A little bit of spin, but they managed to keep it in court. Things are all tied up at 4-4.
Ramos, the big middle for Argentina. Good toss into the court. A little side cutter on his serve. Outside to Sanchez, and he goes back door on DeCecco. And Ramos nowhere near where he should be. Sorry, Ramos is the opposite for Argentina. Roman. Good serve on the outside. Big swing by Argentina's Bruno.
Interesting serve there by the Puerto Ricans. The toss didn't even make it to the baseline. He had to jump straight up and just use his shoulder for power. We usually see such a head of steam behind the ball.
Bruno, author of that big kill, puts his serve in. Torres, the veteran, tries to catch hands, getting no help from the men in blue. Point goes to Argentina, and they have a 6-5 lead.
Maurice Torres, their captain, is also their leading scorer. The veteran opposite.
Bruno again with another attempt that Sanchez puts high into the rafters. And there's another attempt by Torres, and he puts it away.
Goaz going back to Torres right away, knowing full well the veteran is not going to put back-to-back mistakes together.
Nice to have that confidence in your teammates and then to execute perfectly for them. Tight pass right there. Torres getting a one-arm dig off of it. Pacheco outside. Big put down in the middle by Puerto Rico. That
Yes,
was
Lima
Morales.
Morales blocking, and Lima rejected at the net.
Le capitaine Boas, toujours au service.
At the libero, Gonzalez. Oh, a little deflection there, and DeValle takes that one right in the face.
Yeah, that's a beaker shot for sure. I'm sure he can't see right now because his eyes will be tearing, because he took that one off the nose.
Yeah, he's stunned. He's trying not to show it. The old don't let them know.
And there was the exact case in point. Pacheco completely disguising that back set. I don't know how he gets it out of his hands so quickly and with no spin.
Sole with the set. Push off of the block by Torres. Veteran move there. He knew he was in trouble with the ball tight to the block, and he takes Puerto Rico into the technical with an 8-7 lead.
Well, good job by Puerto Rico. They're staying even with this team. You know, Argentina is ranked 7 in the world, and Puerto Rico is not up in that top 15 or top 16 at the present time. So if you're betting the mortgage, I would be betting on Argentina, although the score doesn't necessarily support that at this particular moment. Our production company, ISI Live, comes to you here through cbc.ca at the Robert Gartin Arena in Gatineau, Quebec. This is the 2017 Pan American Cup, Senior Men's Pan American Cup.
And we have two teams, one from the South American Conference, one from the Norseca Conference, making it a true Pan American final here in Gatineau, Quebec. So all dimensions here. We're as far north as the divisions hold in Canada. And we've got Argentina, which may be one of the most southern countries with its geography. So half of the world here in Gatineau.
And if you're just joining us, just to explain, the Canadians finished 4th in this tournament, losing 3-1 to the Cubans. But the Canadian team is not the senior national team. The Canadian team was what's known as the B team. It was made up of university all-stars and a couple of guys who've had a year or two of pro, along with their captain, Max Bird, who's a more seasoned veteran.
Fast outside there, ball in cross court by Lima. I honestly would like it if we could come up with something different than a B team. It sounds disappointing, but I understand what you're saying. It's the A team and the B team. Let's be big boys. That's what it is. But they are quite the talented team on their own. Great set outside by Goaz, and off the block is Guzman.
I suppose one could be politically correct and call the red and white team and the red and black team and leave it vague. But the reality is this is a layer of players that are vying for spots in the national A-team program, the Olympic program, and many of them aren't far behind.
Exactly.
No doubt we'll see them in Canadian uniforms on the world stage within the next 2 to 5 years.
Very true, as you said, most just finishing or even still in their university career. Great change of speed by the veteran Torres.
And that was the exact same situation for the Americans. In speaking with the American Scout man, he told me that all but 3 are returning to NCAA programs.
And we can't use the junior term because that's assigned to an age group specific.
Right, junior being 21 and under.
Yeah.
And none of these players are tied to an age.
Right.
It's more based on whether you make the roster of the senior national team or you're just under it. We could probably call it the national development team.
That's a great name. And they're also carded. They're receiving funding from Volleyball Canada, which has grown with the success of the A-team, the funding opportunities they put down the middle by Prayer, and that's huge for Canada with Own the Podium and the way the better you do, the more you'll be funded. Canada's recent top 5 in the Olympics and now bronze medal in the World League. Volleyball Canada is, I'm sure, getting a bit of an influx.
Yes, the Own the Podium funding has actually gone up and gone up again. So we're I believe, one of the better funded team sports, being a top 6 in the world now. Well, the podium is designed to support teams that have the best chance of medaling in the Olympics. And for a long time, the funding went to more individual sports because in a sport like swimming or track, there are multiple medals that can be tagged to Canada through one sport, where in a sport that's a team sport like volleyball, you can fund a lot of athletes to earn one medal. And so they've, to their credit, have come up with a new formula where team sports have a fair and legitimate shot at funding. And both the indoor men and the beach teams are producing results that have now been recognized and awarded very good funding from On the Podium Sport Canada.
Torres, after a big cross-court kill, goes for his second straight point with a deep ace on the baseline. That's 2 in a row for the veteran Torres. Again, underscoring how you talked about he's not only their leading scorer, he's one of the top scorers in the tournament.
Absolutely. And he's going to need to have a big game for Puerto Rico to have a shot at this.
Whoa, little errant on that one.
Almost took out head referee Andrew Robb.
Okay, so with all of that, Argentina still only trails by 1. And with a good, tough serve from Prayer, and we didn't get it. We got a net serve.
Yeah. That's a foot below the tape, too. That's a serious error.
Guzman tossed into the court nicely. Perfect pass, and DeCecco making no mistake in the middle. Sole yielding big results. And we encourage you, if you're watching this game, for the game within the game. DeCecco, 15 for Argentina. So smooth, so efficient.
Yes, he's been behaving like a regular setter up to this point, but I'm sure there'll be a few spectacular things to come.
Here we go, he's going forward. There's a great reverse of the flow. Just a flick of the wrist with the thumbs through, and it's a perfect C ball.
Yes, I had the privilege of working with the 16-year-olds in Ontario at their high performance center just a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things we were trying to get across to the setters was how, as they get stronger, we want them to set more from their hands and wrists and push with their thumbs, as opposed to setting with their arms and legs. More of a flick, if you will. And DeCecco's a live lesson for how to do that.
And Goaz tries to match right there, but Argentina digs it up. Their return is dug by Puerto Rico. Torres looking for hands, but I think he knows he didn't get it. He's scanning all the down officials, hoping, but nothing doing. That gives Argentina a lead, 14-13, as we move towards the second technical. Psychological advantage to be up at those technical timeouts. Oh, and a beautiful ace from Ramos, the opposite. Straight ahead down the line. And we see there Sanchez talking to his coach, going, yeah, coach, don't worry, I got that. It won't happen again.
Yes, he barely got a step in. It was completely out of his range.
A little adjustment closer to the sideline. Let's see what Ramos brings. Hard at Guzman. Sanchez, his tip is picked up by Bruno. Out of the opposite, Ramos. Argentina's got to get that over. That one's going to get called, and Sole comes up with a big smile on his face like, what? What did I do?
Just catch it, wait a second, and then lift it up.
Where should I throw this?
Yeah.
All right, good to see athletes at this level in this situation having fun, because that's what got them into this sport, was the joy of it, and now they're playing it at the highest level. Off the tape, DeCecco fast outside, a little tight, and unfortunately Bruno unable. He tried to jam it through, but as he came down, his chest was on the net. A rare error by DeCecco, that's for sure. He was in jeopardy. That was a tough pass.
Yeah, no question that ball was very tight, and a good effort by Bruno just to try to save it. And we're all tied up at 15 apiece.
Winner of this point goes into the technical. Puerto Rico all moving to the right side, setting up a huge screen. The serve trying to go over it. Instead, into the net is Roman, and Argentina will have that 1 point slim advantage.
Earlier in tournament action, some tremendous matches. Venezuela defeated Mexico in the 7-8 match, and the USA in a thriller defeated the Dominican Republic for 5th and 6th. And then Canada just recently dropped a 3-1 decision to Cuba to finish 4th. And here we are in the gold medal game of this Senior Pan American Cup.
And that 3-1 loss not indicative of Canada's play. I believe they were only really outplayed in the first set. From the rest of that match on, losing a close second, winning by the same score in the third, and then heartbreaking loss by 25-23 in the fourth.
On a controversial call at that.
So Canada can walk out. I'm sure they felt gutted. I spoke to a couple of the players afterwards, but they know that they played well at least. The worst is to have to leave as you did the other night against Argentina, knowing you just didn't give it your best.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest lesson coming out of all of these matches for Canada is the importance of aggressive serving and spin serving. And I would encourage all of the club coaches that are listening to introduce those skills early in the athlete's career. They may not be ready to use them in competition right away, but they need to be practicing them long before they enter them into competition.
Bruno with the serve. Gonzalez getting the tool. Continue, Brenda. Sorry.
I think my point is made. The serving consistency of the Canadians all the way through to the international level has not been as good as we need it to be, and that's part and parcel with the amount of training, but also how early it's introduced to the athletes.
And I believe there was going to be, I'm not sure if it occurred, a test pilot rule at a certain age where if young athletes tried a jump serve and made an error, they got a reserve, where they could then stay on the ground and make their serve. So they're taking away the fear factor. I believe it was 14Q maybe in Ontario. I read it. It may have been something that was being proposed and never came into fruition, or only for the first half of the year. But the encouragement by the volleyball sport organizations to have coaches work towards these goals without feeling they're going to be punished in their desire to be successful. 17-all here. Sanchez. Big swing handled by Bruno. Oh, little flick tip just out. It was out of the reach of Prayer. Another miscue, I believe, by DeChenko.
Yes, that's 2 more than he's had in the entire tournament, I believe. Just setting the ball a little too slow.
Again, our healthy rip. And again, going right back to the same player.
Jumping away from the net, ball not barely above his shoulder, turns his hands around the back of the ball and fires it as fast as he can for a perfect connection.
I think he heard you about too slow there. That's oh, big swing, but Guzman picks up and recycles. He will try to go off the block, which he does successfully cross court.
Ramos turning it back into court, but just too far.
Yeah, and if you hit it hard enough, you get lucky sometimes, we were saying earlier.
The John Barrett School of Hitting.
Yes. Oh, a poor attempt by Morales there. Again, mid-net. 19-all. Poblahen.
Got that down pat now, Kerry.
Yeah, I'm working on that. Soon I can actually travel in the Caribbean.
How about South America?
Oh, I don't know. Poblahen will serve. He's replacing Lima, but he's bringing the big spin into mid-net, so you want the float in the court. Poblahen will remain on. For the reception, we will see what happens when his rotation comes front row. High toss by Torres. Gets the ball in the back court. Ramos is dug. Garcia. Oh, an excellent turn by Prayer to put that away.
Starting to elevate their game here.
so often happens, has the big kill and then has to go back and refocus on the serving game. Jump float. Handled by Guzman. He gets the return and phases it out of bounds.
Little too much wood on that ball. It got a little behind him and he launched it into the molten sign.
We have a timeout from the Puerto Ricans. They trailed 21-20 to Argentina here in the gold medal match.
The senior men's national team is back training here in Gatineau, Quebec, and in a very short time, the FISU, or the World University Game for Canada under head coach James Gravel, will come together in Gatineau and also train. All of that occurs in the Centre de Sportif in Gatineau. The senior team will head over to Poland. They leave next Saturday for the Hubert Wagner Memorial Tournament, a 4-team draw in Poland that is already sold out. Great preparation for our Canadian team before they head into major competition in October.
And they will be thrown into the fire there with France, Russia, and the host Poland. That's a pretty tough draw, no slouch there. 14, Carrere starts us off. He gets the high pass, makes the dig in the back row. Polahen out to Bruno. His ball will be picked up off the block. Fast dump by Goaz there. Every Puerto Rican was on the move except the libero in that offensive play. So that's really a 5-dimension offense right there.
Yes. And Goaz dumping the ball. It's something we know DeCecco does on a regular basis. I was teasing yesterday saying that Goaz was taking lessons from him, but I think he's already mastered the trade.
That was well disguised. Both hands high right until contact. Big swing again from Guzman. He doesn't get cheated at all. Oh, the Puerto Rican's not happy about that, but Roman does nod his head. He was on the net. We're going to have 2 substitutions on the Argentinian side. Cabana will come in for Ramos, take over the setting duties, and Dariadu will replace DeCecco in the front row. So we're bolstering our block, giving our backcourt quarterback role to Cabana, and he's a lefty. He'll move over to 5 to serve.
Yes, this is a double substitution we've seen in pretty much every set of the tournament from Argentina. They do it at a critical point after 20.
It really, when coaches make that choice to do the double sub regularly, they're putting themselves into, basically they only have 2 substitutions that are reactionary in the game. And that can sometimes handcuff you depending on how your players are performing. Argentina.
Well, I think they do this double sub late enough in the game that if they really needed to react to a situation, they haven't used it yet. I don't think, for the most part, you'd be reacting at the 22 or 3-point mark.
Yeah, very good point. So Argentina, the beneficiary of a Puerto Rican timeout. They are up 23-21, 2 to go with 2 to give.
ISI Live coming to you through cbc.ca.
Shout out right now to the young men and women all around you can't see them in the field of view, but you will, in the red t-shirts on stools around the court, wiping up sweat, rolling balls, retrieving balls that go out of play, and also doing some statistical work at the end line. Just help all around these young volunteers. Fastball outside by Gonzalez is Doug Cabana. Set all the way across to Bruno, who has to give up the free ball. Devalle with the start. Oh, and Argentina waiting for Guzman on that one. Or sorry, Sanchez.
Don't you love it when a double sub works so well? Dariadu coming up with a huge stuff block at a critical time, bringing them to set point, and Pogleja coming up with the dig as well. So both substitutions have been
we've got a whole herd of Puerto Ricans moving in and off the court. Iglesias will replace Torres, setting from the back row now. We've got Burgos, I think the first time we've seen him. He'll come in to serve, and Malgarejo will take over as the opposite. And it was last night when we saw this sub that we thought was a double sub, but Malgarejo had a bit of a twist or tweak of his ankle and didn't get Malgarejo?
Malganado?
Now, do not right. Malgarejo is with Cuba.
Yeah.
I'm mixing my... just getting my arms rolling. Oh, a bit of a... and that ball's being called as in the opposite side of the net. This is a call we wanted for Canada earlier. Didn't get it. Andrew Robb calling DeCheco for playing the ball on the Puerto Rican side of the net. And an upset Velasco will call timeout as that comfortable lead is now down to 1.
Yes, and that's a little bit of a questionable call. I like the call, but Cavana, the setter who's in right now, is a very small player, and for him to be able to reach over the net and bring the ball back is, I would say, somewhat unlikely. He definitely handled the ball tight to the net and potentially could have been called for a held ball, but he got called for reaching over the net.
Exactly. Could have been either call. The other option, I guess, left to him is to put a hand up in that attempt and quickly pull it away, allowing the ball to travel over. That works a lot in youth volleyball. I'm not sure it would work at this stage.
Well,
we'll never know. All right, trying to tie it up here is Burgos. Soleil was blocked, and there's the lefty Deriadu out of the left side, and he terminates. So again, the double sub pays huge dividends for Velasco. He wasn't happy with the way it happened, but it happened on the right side of the ledger. That's first set down. Argentina up 1-0.
And they take it 25-23. Definitely closer than I might have predicted, Carrie. And that looks good on the Puerto Ricans. They just didn't come through in that final stretch. And again, the depth of the Argentinian team coming through for Velasco when it really mattered. I'll take a moment here between sets to thank our funding partners for the spectacular service in this event. The Government of Canada, the Government of Quebec, and the City of Gatineau. Tremendous support in helping make this event a success. The platinum sponsor, Inter Pipeline, who you have so graciously named the back row pipe after.
I think I'm going to be writing them a letter about that.
Inter Pipeline, giving our athletes a competitive advantage. Mizuno, the official supplier of apparel, footwear for Team Canada. Mizuno, never settle. Active Ankle, the official ankle brace of Volleyball Canada, and Kramer Medical, the official athletic tape of Volleyball Canada.
Now, so since Inter Pipeline is a Canadian volleyball sponsor, I guess we can't use that term for either of these teams. That would be some sort of trademark issue or something. They're here to sponsor Canada, so I will let that go as a Canadian-only thing. But yes, for those of you who don't know, the pipe ball is the backcourt attack hit by the sixth player in the middle of the court. And just a coincidence that one of our prime sponsors is Inter Pipeline. All right, we're getting ready. Lots of action in the free space around the court. Every player who can possibly be touching a ball is doing it. Busy right now. They're all eager to get in. Second set soon to get underway. Argentina up 1-0. So haven't tracked the sets won and lost. Have they lost a set? Sorry, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. We can look into that. But they've certainly been rolling, I guess, only...
The answer to your question is no.
There we go.
Argentina defeated Puerto Rico 3-0 on the very first match of the tournament. Then they went on to defeat Venezuela 3-0, and the third set was quite close. It was 28-26, but again, Argentina coming through when it mattered. And then they defeated Canada quite handily 3-0. They had a bye through quarterfinals, and in the semifinals, Argentina again defeated Canada 3-0 with a final set of 25-10. So they've had a very authoritative a presence in this tournament. That's why coming in I was predicting a 3-0 here, or maybe hoping for one because I have a long drive after this match. But nevertheless, they took the first set 25-23. Great job by Puerto Rico to stay close. And we'll see how it unfolds in the second set.
Exactly. Puerto Rico fully aware of Argentina standing in the world rankings, 7th in the world, right behind Canada. They know this is the Goliath, but they're here to make a point that their program is developing, and they want to give Argentina everything they can before this wraps up. So to the Puerto Rican fans watching, no disrespect here, Argentina is the favorite, but Puerto Rico not only handled their own, they threatened right at the end of the match, or the set, to steal one there, and let's see if they can do that here in the second.
Gary, earlier in the day, one of the volunteers had been delayed.
So we have a card coming in. Checo there talking to Andrew Robb, but he pointed at the libero, Gonzalez, as he pulled his card up. So is that the captain is there to
Yes, the
get
captain
the information?
That's right. The captain receives the information, but I don't believe the card was awarded against Checo.
No, it was. He pointed directly at the libero Gonzalez as he rose the card. So Gonzalez may have made a comment about that controversial call near the end of the first set. Here we go. Big swing out of the back row by Sanchez serving. Lima hard off of Goaz and the rafters here at the Gertan. Checo was not even on the floor at that point, so maybe it was something said as the teams went, no, because Argentina went nowhere near the up official. Not sure what happened. I did see the second official go over early, so maybe that's the relaying of men. That's the proper way to do it. The second official will communicate to the first, and then the message is delivered. We won't tolerate that.
They're actually connected by a headset as well.
That's true. At this level, we have everything. They have iPads, they have all kinds of technology. Bruno pushing a high out of system set to Ramos, who continues. Devalle with the same bump set.
And they measure a diagonal, like an X from corner to corner across the court, and I'm thinking, if it's off by a centimeter or two, what are you going to do?
With a sport court, yeah.
Especially when it's an hour before the first match.
Well, the answer would be the square root of 162, but I don't know that information off the top of my head. So here we go. Puerto Rico moving up 2-1 now. Left side. Oh, tossed well into the court. He's got to change up and just throw a roller over. Great adjustment, but unfortunately way too easy for Puerto Rico to handle. You'd see urgency in his approach as he released that ball.
Yeah, a little panic because the toss got away from him, but his
Didn't
credit.
make the error.
Yeah.
All right, the veteran Torres. Big toss, hard swing cross court, but wide, well wide.
And he's still a meter behind the line after hitting it. No lead at all.
Maybe he's preparing for that rule change.
There is a theory, I'm not sure how proven it is, but there's a theory that for every inch you jump, that's an inch of lead as a spin server that you should be tossing the ball into the court. So if you jump a meter, you want to have your toss peak and drop 1 meter in the court.
Again, we'll get back to that math part. Maybe we'll let that go right now. Some sort of square root arc under the curve or something has probably been calculated by smarter people than I. All right, Guzman, who's been serving up a storm here in this match. He's just ripping it and ripping it from the back. That one, no exception. Great 31 again, running off the net by the Checo. Not quite as spectacular as the earlier one you talked about, but still, he is so deceptive to the very end.
Yes, he's a middle blocker's nightmare. All tied up at 4 apiece.
Good toss there, well in front of him. That ball on the line, and you could just tell by the body language of Sanchez, yeah, I had no chance. Even if I touched that, I wasn't going to get it. So he probably elected and hoped that it was going out.
That's Ramos with a very accurate spin serve.
Let's see what he brings again. Tossed well into the court, off speed, handled by DeValle. Huge reversal, running play there by Torres. He's allowed to do that, hit the net as long as he's out of bounds. That's called in. Oh, everybody upset about that call, but I might agree. I thought that was a line shot. I didn't see the antenna move, so Argentina, the beneficiaries of that call.
Yes, we saw something similar last night. In this case, Torres touching the net and the post outside the court, stepping over the center line outside the court. No violation. Ramos
into the net. I once was watching a Canadian match on YouTube, and there was trivia question on when can you touch the net. It was a men's match. So I answered, when the ball pushes the net into you via Twitter.
That would be right.
But I was told I was wrong. That's not the answer.
That's not the answer,
that's not
but
the
it
answer.
is correct.
It is correct. And then I mentioned outside the antenna. That was told. I was maybe the only person awake watching this match and answering. Finally, the answer was your ponytail can be on the net. And I was totally confused as we were watching a men's match. There weren't too many ponytails there. But anyways, that's just a short digression.
I know some Canadian referees that call ponytails too.
So there are there are situations where the net can be violated. The ball cannot make you be on the net. Oh, great deep cross-court serve there by Roman, and he gets that 1-point margin for Puerto Rico, and they had this early in the first set as well. Argentina, very patient.
Kerry, technically the net is 9.5 meters long, and so there's a quarter of a meter outside the antenna on each side that athletes may not touch.
Goaz with the shutdown on Bruno take us into the timeout. So yes, that's what I was talking about. The little bit of net outside, the ball pushing you on the net, and there was a third one.
While you're thinking of it, I'll tell you my story from before. Earlier today, we were short a volunteer, and so I agreed to jump in and help out at the VIS table, the Volleyball Information System table. So I was sitting with some young girls who are from the Mavericks Volleyball Club, and they told me that in their uniform contest that they had going on amongst the 8 teams, the Puerto Ricans win hands down. They like those uniforms.
They are flashy, sublimated red and blue with a big star on the hip, something the young people of today are expecting with this new sublimation style uniform, whereas Argentina, very traditional.
Well, they thought those uniforms were very cool. And of course, when you see international volleyball or professional volleyball even more so, the uniforms are extremely busy because they serve as a billboard for sponsors, and there's patches and writing all over the uniform.
Most international sports, we see that whenever we see the international hockey matches, other than the Olympics, because in the Olympics, you're not allowed that either, to have sponsorship on your uniform. So I believe you can't even have a second logo sometimes. Good start by Argentina out of the technical with a beautiful pass and a set to Bruno, who puts it away.
That set is so fast and so flat and just high enough for Bruno to reach. It's like perfection.
Making it really hard for Toto. Sorry, for Morales to close on. Great swing out of the back by Bruno. He put every inch into that one. Tying it up at 8. mismatched scoreboards down on the score table. But fortunately, on your monitor, it's correct. Off the block, a one-hand touch by Ramos. That forces Fernandez to high back bump it over. Good tight pass. Oh, beautiful Devalle. That ball handled by Goas outside to Sanchez for the kill.
And the Puerto Ricans go ahead 9-8.
Goas. Jump float straight ahead at Lima. That'll bring Ramos off the block and down. The opposites are such an important part of the offense. We looked at every team here this weekend, and their opposites are vital to their offense. That wasn't always the case in volleyball.
They've got the score fixed, so we're all tied up at 9-all.
Too much chatter going on at the table. Into the net is Sole, and he'll lead after that effort, getting no love from Gonzalez as he goes on. Sole reaching out for the touch, and Gonzalez walked right by. I was hoping to get a longer rest, he said. Now he takes a beautiful ball that his master, DeCecco, turns into a artful 51 for back quick.
The way these teams run their quick offense internationally, the 50 and the 60 are both relative to the setter. So when he moves forward and the player calls 60, it's right on his back. And that's what we saw there.
Out of the back row. Oh, beautiful one-handed dig by DeCecco, and he moves around artfully into coverage.
And Lima going for hands, and he's just too high.
I have not seen that. DeCecco moved from the back right position all the way around his sixth player to come in for coverage. What a great effort. So many players stand and watch. Plays the whole game. Morales into the middle of the net, and that's his second like that. That's just not even close to coming over.
When I'm recruiting for the university program that I coach, I often will watch players without the ball. I like to see who plays when they don't have the ball, because everyone gives it their all when the ball is theirs.
Right. Oh, scrambled play there. Beautiful shot by Bruno. Goaz outside and rejected his Guzman. Yes, I refer to that as working without the ball. And I'm sure that's what you're talking about. It's the little things that players can do to be successful if they're in the right position.
Yeah, whether it's releasing quickly in transition, whether it's identifying free balls or other cues early, or just covering.
Covering is the hardest one to get young players to do. Oh, a little net push there by Torres, and he puts the hand up, thumbs up, good call. 13-11, Argentina, as I said, just laying in wait as Puerto Rico got off to the better start, but Argentina's whittled away and now leads 13-11 as Puerto Rico's Hernandez, the coach, calls a timeout. He looks like a young coach, in my estimate. I'm not aware of the lineage of coaching in Puerto Rico, but maybe somebody just out of his playing career, because he looks very athletic and he's very emphatic right now. Great to see, very, very demonstrative in his instructions.
Passionate man. Unfortunately, I don't know any more about him than you do. They didn't give us any bios on the coaches.
Still serving opposite Bruno Lima.
Lima straight ahead at oh, big put down by Torres at the feet of Fernandez.
It's got to be tough for Fernandez. He comes in and spends more time going back and forth than he does playing the ball.
Well, he's basically a target, whereas Gonzalez, he's as a receiver, he's got a little more time to react like that. Beautifully done. Little flick by DeCecco, and a great shot by Ramos, right to the back corner.
One of the neat things about Argentina is nothing rattles them. They're so even keel. I just love the calm but intense demeanor on the floor all the time.
Over top of that one.
Yes, and Ramos quickly puts his hand up, recognizing that he went too far past the ball.
Sailed right on by. Yeah, okay, I know. Again, a good serve by Guzman. Oh, look at that. And what a great creative play by Bruno. But DeCecco, again, going to his knees and flicking over his right shoulder.
Yeah, there's one of those top of the game.
Something tells me he could still get to that body position and reverse the flow all the way to Ramos if that is what he wanted to do.
Absolutely he can.
Goas with a nice ball outside to Sanchez, but Argentina waiting for that.
Sole putting that ball down faster than it came to him.
16-13, Argentina into the second technical timeout.
This is the gold medal game of the 2017 Pan American Cup, coming to you by Volleyball Canada here in the Robert Gartin Arena in Gatineau, Quebec. We are brought to you through ISI Live Productions on cbc.ca. And for our Spanish listeners, you can go to the norsica.tv site and pick up the Spanish version of the same broadcast.
And even if you're not Spanish, you may want to check out what it sounds like. I've often done that, listened in other sports, like CBC has the Punjabi version of Hockey Night in Canada. And I love listening to that. I have no idea what's being said other than you are getting visual too, so you might have an idea, but...
You are an odd duck, Harry.
It's fun. It's fun to just see or experience something a little different.
You put on the Punjabi garb as
no,
well?
No, I don't go that far.
Go and have a special meal to get ready for it?
It usually only happens when things aren't going well for my team, and so I need to entertain myself a little bit. But with the season the Senators had this year, I was often smile on my face. Ramos, great toss into the court, little off speed. Sanchez gets the return, and again he's rejected. That's two in a row by DeCecco and Sole in the middle. Now Lopez will replace Sanchez. After getting rejected twice in a row, we'll try something different. New look.
Yes, Ramon Hernandez going to his bench, try to present a new look. They're down 4 points. They're down a set, and something needs to change.
Ramos going at the new player. Oh, it's very, very smart play by Lima. All set up to pound it, and he just cupped his hand around. We got a timeout, second timeout by Puerto Rico. Sole, making that carved shot.
So we're sitting at our second timeout in the third set.
Hernandez running out of options. He has lots of substitutions.
Sorry, second set. And too many games today. Argentina, 18-13. After taking the first set, 25-23. Best of 5 match here in the gold medal game. All sets except the fifth to 25, and you have to win by 2. And if we do go to a fifth and deciding set, it will go to 15 with no cap as well. Win by 2.
On that note, discussion, maybe we can bring this up again. On the horizon is a discussion. We got a double sub on the Puerto Rican side. Iglesias and Maldonado, the double sub for Ramos and Goas.
I know what you were alluding to, the testing that's going on in Europe with the best of 7 sets to 15 rather than a best of 5 to 25. So we'll see if it passes the test and makes its way over this side of the ocean.
I think the idea being that the 15-point game being such a sprint, there's more urgency right out of the gate. In the games to 25, the first to 10 is not always significant. And I believe that that's what they're trying to get. I'm not sure, but I've also been told they're trying to get a more consistent time block for television, and this weekend has been evidence of that for us.
Absolutely.
We've been all over the map with start times.
I thought I'd be halfway home by now. That was Roman on the cutback shot, scoring for Puerto Rico.
And again, the man who authors the kill gets to serve. It's almost like a reward, but it is a rotation that happens. That was very long. And again, Argentina just escalating this score and the lead point by point en route to 25. Can anybody force Argentina to go beyond 3 sets? Great serve by Bruno. Long. So again, in speaking with Julien Boucher, Argentina using this competition as a warm-up for their South American Championships. And of course, they have the difficult haul there with both Chile and Brazil, of course, in their conference. Tough to win down there.
Well, particularly Brazil, one of the top teams in the world.
A little wide by Bruno. He's not happy at all. Maldonado, the opposite, who came in the double sub. So that means for the first time, young Iglesias will get to operate in the front row as a setter. Maldonado with the serve, not very tough, so Argentina makes quick work of it. I believe that Hernandez may be in some respect, and no disrespect to Iglesias, but the white flag's gone up for this set because we haven't seen this all week yet. Iglesias with a beautiful reversal to Maldonado, so the 2 subs connect on that one to keep Argentina alive. They trail 5 though. They've got a lot of work to do and a short time to do it.
The depth of the roster helping out quite a bit.
Serve handled by Lima, and he gets the return. That ball goes 10 rows, no, 1 row up into the stands.
Just looking
all
at
the way
the world,
cross-court.
sorry, Kerry. Looking at the world rankings, I said Brazil's one of the top teams in the world. They actually stayed neutral after 2016. They are currently number 1, followed by the USA at 2, Poland at 3, a tie between Italy and Russia at 4, and then Canada at 6.
And France is sitting?
France is sitting at 9, and they didn't move up after winning, which I thought was really strange, but such as it is. Iran went down 1, so they're 8. So we've got Canada at 6, Argentina at 7, Iran at 8, France at 9, and Germany at 10.
I believe the significance of the points they would gained in the World League, they dropped in their conference last year, so that's probably why they sat neutral.
That makes sense.
Plus minus kind of thing adding up there. If you're not aware, about 4 or 5 major events on the calendar every year determine your standings in the FIVB, and you've got to win or finish higher in order to move up. It's a very, very fair ranking. Tough to make it if you are a team like Canada, who's just recently climbed the ladder incredibly from the 30s to 6th place.
Morales missing his serve, putting the Argentinians at set point.
Iglesias Crair looking at Ramos saying, should have picked that up.
And they stay alive. Down 6 though, a lot of work to do. We need a few aces off the hand.
So just notice Puerto Rico is also now doing the second libero in as Devalle came off. And the second libero, not even sure.
Iglesias puts the serve into the net to finish that second set, 25-18.
Cabrera being the other libero. And I know why I'm not sure. I didn't write his name down.
So Argentina has moved ahead 2-0, scores 25-23 and 25-18 in this best-of-5 match. I'm going to turn, Carrie, to the world of beach volleyball going on right now in Vienna. The Canadians having tremendous success in Vienna at the World Championships. At this point, the combination of Sam ×2, Pedlo and Schachter, are 2-0 in pool play, and they have one more match in their pool. They'll play Spain, Herrera and Gavira, for first place in that pool, but assured of moving on. Ben Saxton and Kame Scholl also at 2-0, and they will meet Austria's Doppler and Horst for first place in the tournament. Aaron Nussbaum and Ryan Vandenberg have gone 0-2 to date, but have a chance to advance if they can beat Iran in their final pool match. On the women's side, Sarah Pavin and Melissa Humania Paredes, who've had tremendous success in the last 3 events, winning a gold, silver, and bronze on the podium 3 times consecutively. They're 2-0 presently and will play China for first in the pool. Wilkerson and Bainsley, that's Brandy Wilkerson and Heather Bainsley, are also 2-0, and they will play the Swiss for first in the pool. So great success there. In addition, Gordon and Camille Saxton are 1-1, having beaten the Netherlands and lost to Brazil, and they will advance and have one more pool match to go. And lastly, Taylor Pischke and Jamie Broder, who recently got together, have gone 0-2, but they will play Rwanda in their last pool match and have a good chance to advance. So some tremendous Canadian success, not just in indoor volleyball, but on the beach. You can go to the FIVB site, FIVB.com.
As much a fish out of water, you would think, in some respects, as Switzerland. Like I'm always shocked that Switzerland is so strong at beach volleyball. It's not a country you would think of there being a lot of beaches, but again, beach volleyball is played on sand. You don't have to be a waterside beach. A lot of indoor facilities now, so that these athletes are training year-round, and I think that's part and parcel why Canada is moving up the full-time training center for beach.
Absolutely, it's had a huge effect, as has head coach Steve Anderson. But the interesting thing, Canadians went down to Brazil recently for a beach event, and there were indoor matches in sand at that event. There weren't enough outdoor courts in Brazil. That was very strange. Or perhaps they were just testing venues, I don't know. But there were definitely some meaningful matches that were played in an indoor facility on the beach.
Very interesting indeed. Thought of again, speaking of an odd duck, got a little flyer on my windshield last night about an event coming up here in Gatineau, La Vallée, where there's going to be beach soccer, beach volleyball, and it said dodgeball, and I was wondering, is it also going to be beach dodgeball? That could be kind of fun. Hard to move around quickly on the beach, but takes a creative mind. DeCecco starts us off. And Puerto Rico answers. Apologize for the static over the system right now. We're working on it. There we go. DeCecco with the soft block standing on the ground. That means this ball must go over, but appears to be after 2 contacts. But DeCecco's standing block is first contact.
And Guzman's loving the fact that he stuffed that ball.
All right, so Puerto Rico coming out fast and furious right now. Maybe Argentina gone into relaxation mode, a 3-0 lead on a short serve there.
Yeah, Bruno didn't handle the serve reception, and then DeCecco working hard to try to keep it alive, but he puts it back into the bottom of the net and can't recover that play.
Velasco showing he'll have nothing to do with this. There's no time for this, guys. If we came here, we've got to get this done. Again, they're in preparation. It's not teams of their caliber, so sometimes coaches will say the only way to get anything out of this is to be very efficient and clean, and Argentina is one set away from a clean sweep of this tournament.
It's very common, third sets, when you're up 2-0, my analysis to my own team on a regular basis. The other team's backs are to the wall now. They're going to play with all the urgency they've got because they want to stay alive. If you guys are comfortable, you have a 2-set cushion. You have to match their urgency or we're going to let them back in.
Because one can lead to two very quickly, and there's the answer that the coach was looking for. Prayer, little alarm right there. First, they thought the call was not going to go their way, but the up official, Andrew Robb, overruling the linesman, and the ball called in. Lima with the jump float. A great reversal by Goaz. They're letting that ball go as it went off the shin. Nope, now there's a call. The second official pointing at the floor, letting Andrew Robb know that ball seemed to hit the shin, then the foot. Again, it'd be great to have a challenge system right now. It'd be fun.
I'm surprised no whistle went. So it's 4-1, Puerto Rico.
Big high toss by Torres. He can't get it any higher in this facility. Great swing by Crair. Good little slow motion roll out of it.
Nice to see that these guys who are 6'8" can curl themselves up in a little ball and roll around the court.
Yeah, and even went opposite hip to shoulder the way you're supposed to do it. Great job. That is a skill that is fading in this game. The proper roll. There's a touch off the block. Everybody in the arena seeing that.
If the Argentinians had pulled their hands down there, I think Guzman's swing would still be rising when it hit that sign out by the exit.
Good point.
He just launched that sucker.
Puerto Rico again for the third set in a row, taking an early lead. Argentina laying in wait. There's DeCheco recycling the ball from Sole. And now Ramos off the block and out of bounds.
There's one of those hang, delay, wait for the block to descend, and then snap off the top of the hands. And nothing the blockers can do. Because
they have to retract as well, or they're going to be on the net. So that's advantage to the hitter for sure. Martin Ramos. Little cutter handled by DeValle. Sanchez muscles that shoulder over down the line and scores.
DeCheco giving up a lot of line on that block. Well, a couple hundred fans hanging in right to the end. They see a small Argentinian contingent in their blue and white striped soccer jerseys.
Yes, the classic Argentinian soccer jersey. And last night, there was about 4 or 5 young men from Puerto Rico here, and after a prayer by the Puerto Ricans, as they do in a circle, they all turned and waved at those 4 young men, thanking them for being here for them. Awfully hard when you're in a strange country. You get maybe a few expats showing up, and that is technical timeout with a 4-point lead, or doubling up on Argentina. As I said, they're back into the double libero with Cabrera on, but unfortunately Goaz, with a poor effort, keeps this alive. And now Argentina, how important is it to get to 6 or maybe 7 before the technical?
Big heat.
Puerto Rico maybe looking in the rearview mirror. Great serve there.
Wow. You got your wish, Kerry. You're up to 6-7. An opportunity to tie things up.
And that will have Puerto Rico second guessing themselves in the technical instead of being very confident up 8-4. Sole. Off the tape. DeValle handles that easily. Not the best middle attack. DeCheco takes the return, and there we see Lima going cross-court, and here we go. It'll now be 1 point for either team in the technical instead of that potential 4-point lead. Opportunity missed.
Has to be demoralizing
Totally
for
is.
the Puerto Ricans.
for Argentina, it just seems like another day at the office. There's not a lot of emotion. There's just a lot of determination on their faces.
They fully expect to win.
Big serve deep into one. The bump set out to Torres. He tries to use the block, but it's turned in by DeCecco. DeCecco gives him another look, but this time Torres goes OT, I believe. And okay, guys, we got here finally with the lead, but it's only one. That's what Argentina was looking for in that short span.
They're at 8-7. So earlier today, as things wrapped up, this tournament has been going on since Tuesday with 2 4-team pools. Things are coming very close to an end now. In the bronze medal game, Cuba defeated Canada 3-1. In the 5th place game, the United States defeated the Dominican Republic in a very close 5-setter. And then for 7th and 8th place, Venezuela defeated Mexico. So Canada finishes the tournament in 4th, United States in 5th, Cuba in 3rd, and this one will determine 1st and 2nd.
All right, technical timeout coming to an end. Argentina on the sideline. Coach Velasquez still giving instructions, whereas Puerto Rico hasn't even broken from the huddle yet. The clipboard out. Hernandez emphatically, he's now getting urged by the second official to break it up. As the time limit of a timeout, usually...
Here comes the time delay, Kerry. Oh, he put his card back in the slot. He's just giving them a verbal warning. Very generous of first official Andrew Robb.
All right. So not something we need to see right now. Sanchez, ball into the net.
Oh, that's a wrong call by the second official.
That ball did not. Oh, the
Velasco
coach going up.
has got to be careful.
And
now.
Hernandez pointing at the circus that is Argentina right now, going, what's going on? Get control of this. No call by any linesman. That ball was still live.
Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. That second official did not have a good angle. He should not have made that call. Andrew Robb
card
warning now. Velasco, and deservedly so. He left the coach's box. He entered the court. He grabbed the net. Totally unprofessional. But at the same time, a lot of emotion. And good job by Andrew Robb to check with his minor officials. I believe he'll be ensured that ball was okay.
Exactly. So we'll get a reserve. However, a red card was presented, which then means Puerto Rico will serve, but they will get a point. That's the unfortunate side of this. And I guess it's a check of emotion for Argentina. That must have been Gonzalez then, do you think, as he received a yellow earlier for behavior. Although it seemed to be raised just in general towards Argentina. So the second official now at the score table. We're going to have probably a lengthy delay here as the officials all need to confer on what needs to happen, how it needs to be recorded properly for this record. And meanwhile, in the end, the Dominican Republic gets their point.
Yes, a point will be awarded to the Dominican Republic, but not the point of the rally that had previously been awarded, because that rally is being reserved.
All right, settling it down. No, second official still dealing with the official scorer, and this is all computerized now.
It should be 7-9.
7-9 is the correct score. It's how do you record it? So you have
the reason it's 9, just to explain, it had been moved to 9 on the call of outside the antenna by the second official, which then was taken back, which put it at 8, and then the red card brought it back to 9.
Long serve there. Puerto Rico trying to sell it, but after all that delay, not surprising, the serving error arises. 9-8 now, Puerto Rico. Argentina back to within 1. DeCecco, the veteran, comes hard with that serve. Guzman is slowed down at the block, picked up by Bruno. DeCecco outside. Lima dug one hand by Guzman, but a net violation called on Torres. And you can feel the wind coming out of the Puerto Rican sails.
A lot of momentum stirring up on the Argentinian side. I think Velasco adding some emotion to the court, showing that it matters. Taking that red card has got his guys fighting a little bit more.
It could, you're quite right, it could have been Velasco who was awarded that card. We don't know that, it was just presented, but he went up and started grabbing the net. So first of all, he's entered the 3 meter zone.
That's why it's a red.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's him. Yeah.
Good to know now. I'll stay out of that 3 meter zone. Big put down in the middle by Crare.
It was more than the 3 just going into the interior zone. He stepped on the court and grabbed the net.
Yes, sorry. Everything, and just showing the officials up completely.
Yes.
Poor behavior from the veteran coach. He was right in his being upset. He was wrong in how he handled it. A little rebound off the roof, off of Bruno off the roof.
Some 10-year-old dust comes slowly raining down on the court.
Who knows how long stuff's been up there. This Bob Gertin, Robert Gertin Arena has been here a very long time. It's a very good size for volleyball in Canada. Rarely going to get filled. Maybe if the senior team was here playing an Argentina, the crowd would be much bigger, but a healthy crowd nonetheless for Canada every time they played.
So that's Bruno going up for the outside swing, trying to cut the ball really, really sharp. And it came down on his own side for a Puerto Rican point, and they moved back ahead by 2.
That's the cushion, of course, you need to win.
And Maurice Torres comes up with an ace as Lima can't handle the pass.
The captain and leader for Puerto Rico forces Velasco into calling his second timeout. He called one at 3-0 because of the start Puerto Rico got. Now he calls one after a 3-point run by Puerto Rico again.
13-10 in this third set. Argentina leads 2-0, having won 25-23 and 25-18. Thank you to the platinum sponsor, Interpipeline, for giving our athletes a competitive advantage. Interpipeline. Mizuno, the official supplier of apparel and footwear for Team Canada Volleyball. Mizuno, never settle.
And after all of that hoopla, second official informs Velasco he's used his 2 timeouts. Game's back to Andrew Robb, and serve is initiated. Torres, the captain and leader of Puerto Rico, trying to do something no team has done here, and that is win a set against Argentina. Just saw the Canadian team walk by in their post-game gear. They're up in the stands now, so likely the post-tournament ceremony you were mentioning earlier will be the last official thing for the Canadian team before they go their own ways. Great little put down by Goaz. That's the second for him. That ball a little further off the net, though, so maybe Argentina not expecting the dump because of the circumstance.
Well, there's certainly no one in front of him.
Right.
And defense was set fairly far back, waiting on an outside attack, I think.
Puerto Rico keeping that 3-point cushion alive. 14-11, Guzman, who has had, in my estimation, the best serving match for Puerto Rico. We do not receive live stats up here, but that's my old coaching instinct. And as I say it, I jinx the man, and he serves wide.
He served the ball the right depth, just a little wide. Great heat on the ball. Here we have our typical double sub coming in once again.
Last time when Argentina did this with Deriadu and Cabana for Ramos and DeCheco, it yielded big results, and they're needed right now if Argentina is going to eliminate this deficit before the second technical. The game within the game. Jump float, Cavale handles it. Goaz with the reversal. Dig by Cabana right there, and now Deriadu, the lefty, but he is stopped as there was only one option for Argentina, and Puerto Rico was waiting for it.
Great block by Sanchez and Roman. Come together, put up a wall.
Right. Roman from deep one. Tosses the ball just above the baseline. Great save by Cabana, and there's the back row attack. We've got a 3-meter violation called by the official. Just either on or slightly over the 3-meter line is a backcourt attacker, and that is not allowed. So we see the first 4-point lead by the Dominican Republic, 16-12 in this second technical.
Yeah, it's just needing to get out the toe clippers there and cut it a little shorter as he just barely stepped on the line, but great eye by the first official to catch that back row attack. And credit to the Puerto Rican coach. He was all over that before the whistle even went. Hernandez picking up the violation right away.
Veteran coaches will take a glance at either a backcourt attacker or a libero who might be setting the ball with his hands and jumping over the attack line, as many do. Check the feet before anything else.
Well, things are winding down. We could be here for a little while, though. It does look like Puerto Rico's going to do everything they can to push this to 4.
Puerto Rico, I'm sure, has that singular mission right now. Let's make the first blemish on the Argentine record, and then why not go for a second one right after it. Roman again, good toss, soft serve, Garcia, and Bruno goes through the seam as Sanchez drifts out of bounds. Holrahen will come in now and serve for Lima. Oh, he's not going to serve. He's coming in position 2. He will serve next. No, he's coming in position 4. He just didn't know where he was, and I was thinking he did. Of course, that makes sense as Bruno is back serving. Off-speed shot, handled by Puerto Rico. Out to Torres on the right. Off the toque, into the stands. 4-point lead once more for Puerto Rico.
You know, the number of balls that have beakered these athletes over the last 5 days it suggests that all players need to do a lot of upper back and neck work in the weight room, because this is a concussion waiting to happen if you haven't got strong muscles to support your head as it's being banged on.
What is your thought on the possibility of raising the net? Oh, Hernandez upset as there was a definite missed line violation, but Puerto Rico, Torres takes care of business, but Hernandez still talking to the second official. He should be careful.
I disagree with Hernandez. Well, if they continue with this direction to try to balance offense against defense to make longer rallies, that would be a logical move next. It will, however, make it that much harder for the 185, the 189, the 190 centimeter player to play a role at the international level. So it's just going to get bigger and bigger athletes.
Yeah, I believe that the same argument with raising the rim in basketball. Oh, a little beak shot there off of goal. Which might infer that it was a pretty hot hit. Torres shut down by Derriadu, and it's going back to Torres. Off the block down the line, Cabana looking helplessly behind him.
Fantastic offensive coverage by Duvalet. The little guy took up a lot of court. Great flying save to keep that offensive coverage alive. And then Puerto Ricans were able to convert it to a point, and he's celebrating hard. Coach acknowledging his effort as well.
So here's an opportunity where the double substitution has not yielded a positive result, as Argentina's fallen further and further behind with Dariadu and Cabana on, but Velasco staying with them. I guess feeling they need to complete their task. And we'll see Ramos. And
we'll see the return now that
there was some hesitation, but both Ramos and DeCheco are going up after Lopez replaces Sanchez.
Yeah, I can't imagine them keeping Cabana in the front row here.
No, so that's not a good day at the office for those two. They'll be hoping they get another opportunity. Well, they're not hoping, but if they do, they want to make better of the situation. This would be a big steal if Argentina can eliminate this 5-point deficit. 5 subs used by Argentina now. Only 1 by Puerto Rico. Good serve, overpass there. And again, the same call that was made against Argentina. So Andrew Robb being very consistent there. The setter reaching over the net to play the ball on the opponent's side.
Well, if he was going to call the other one on Cabana, he needs to call this one for sure. So good job for him.
The valet with the pass. Torres putting it down, making no mistake. There's an urgency on Puerto Rico. You can hear it in their voices, see it in their play. They can smell this. And it would be an upset, as we've said. Argentina not losing a set, including a sweep of Puerto Rico on the first day of the tournament. That being Puerto Rico's only loss. That ball beautifully struck cross-court on the sideline, maybe 1.5 meters from the net.
That's a great cut, sharp angle, straight down. Prayer.
It's hard hat time for Argentina right now. Put it on, strap on the work boots, and let's go. Ball kept alive by Puerto Rico. The backdoor shot. No touch signal made. Guzman hoping there would be, but I believe there wasn't.
No touch, and that ball goes just long, called out.
Argentina.
Ivan Karen on the baseline there. No hesitation at all. And they've cut the lead to 3.
And Ivan, not a stranger to international volleyball, both as an official on the lines and as a player for Canada's CISM team, the national military team. Great dig in the back row. DeCheco on the run. Ramos brings it to within 1. So I thought it was already 19. My bad. 21-19 right now within 2, but it was 5 just a second ago.
Yes, great 3-point run by Argentina. They do not want this to go to 4. They've elevated their game.
So now is the urgency there? Are they becoming aware? They were a bit relaxed, getting down 3-0 out of the start, getting down 7-4 prior to the technical, and then 13-10. Now they've brought it to within 2. Of course, that 3-point deficit could be restored if Puerto Rico can turn the ball around on receive.
Yes, and I noticed when DeCheco was out in the double sub, he was receiving some nutrition on the bench. I suspect this team ate at about 2 o'clock, thinking they were going to play a 5 o'clock gold medal game. Here we are at almost 9 o'clock, and they haven't had a meal. Both teams in the same situation, of course.
Sanchez in for Lopez again. Yes, and they will not be happy about having to go through a post-tournament ceremony, not eating, but that serve into the net there by Polahen.
So we're back to a 3-point margin.
Derailing the Argentinian efforts, and if they're hungry now, they'll be a lot hungrier if they have to play a 4th. Big high toss by Torres. Takes a little something off and goes beautifully to the right sideline.
Polahen couldn't handle the side spin, and it got outside his range. Good job to touch the ball, but unfortunately he sent it towards the bench.
Torres exhibiting a superstition there. He doesn't leave the playing surface until receiving the ball from his lines person, something I used to see from Aaron Binstock at Dalhousie. I remember that being a strange idiosyncrasy, but here I'm seeing it from a veteran world player. High toss again. Same spot, but this time Polahan takes it away. Torres making the dig. He'll get the return set. Double touch called by Andrew Robb, and Puerto Ricans are wondering because there hasn't been much called this tournament, and here's a key one against them.
Aaron Binstock, you mentioned, of course, the cousin of Josh Binstock, the two-time beach Olympian for Canada.
Tape sniveler there is picked up by Goaz. Oh, the tip here. You won't be called for reaching because Puerto Rico has made their 3 contacts, so the ball is Argentina's wherever it is at that point.
That's Lima reaching with the fingertips and pressing that ball down, rejecting the tip.
So if Argentina scores one more, the turning point is that red card. If we go back to that, right now, they would only be down 1. And that serve is long, putting them in a very deep hole here at 24. So Puerto Rico on target. We're going to see the double sub come in. Maldonado for Goaz and Iglesias for the big right side, Torres. Iglesias has a chance. Would this be a save for a setter to come in at 24 and get the last point, much like baseball? The win going to Goaz, but the save to Iglesias if he wins.
Goaz, is he going to be a hero?
Deep serve. Bruno handles it well. The pipe ball put away there by Polahan. So Argentina stays alive. The double sub coming right back in. So Coach Hernandez would rather have his starting quarterback or on the floor and his veteran Torres hitting back row than Maldonado hitting front row. So all 6 subs have been used by Puerto Rico now. Ramos goes big with the serve. Guzman tracks it down. Torres will hit way out of the back row and way long. So now we have that 1-point deficit. We're looking at a timeout, Puerto Rico. So Coach Hernandez has exhausted all of his options. Coach Velasco, I believe, has one more sub. Polahan is on the court.
Sorry, this is always a tough call as a coach. He calls the timeout up 24-23, which gives the other team an opportunity to talk it over as well. And they're the ones whose backs are to the wall, right?
Now the theory is, I would assume, 1, icing the server, and 2, maybe tactically he's drawing things out on the clipboard. Here's the zone we want to attack from. So you're right. I would say that Argentina has the pressure squarely on their shoulder. Well, they're up 2-0, so it's there's only one team that can lose the match in this set. So there's the only real pressure.
Main pressure right now is on Ramos to produce on the service line.
Solid server, the veteran opposite. Good toss well into the court. Called out. Argentina very upset about that. Very upset. What a gutsy play by the Puerto Ricans to let that go. That ball so close to the sideline. But there's the first blemish on Argentina's record right now. And every player, as they walk by the second official, Miguel Murejo from Puerto Rico. No, can't be him. He wouldn't be in this game. There we go. We will go 4. So we've had 5, 5, 4, and now 4 again today. Maxing out the volleyball here at the Pan American Cup. We're going to take a brief break right now and come back to you in about 2 minutes. We're back at the Robert Gertin Arena here in Gatineau, Quebec for the fourth set. The first time Argentina has been pressed into extra sets in this, their fifth match of the tournament. From up to this point, they were 14-0 in sets. Puerto Rico charging out to an early start there in the fourth and then surviving a lot of controversy, including a red card to the Argentinian coach.
Yes, and that proved to be pivotal in the match. They only lost by 2 at 23-25. Had that not happened, it would have been 24-25, and they're still alive.
Yeah, the coach had to give the officials a chance to go about doing their job properly, and I believe they would have if the captain had just gone over and requested. Anyway, here we go. Sanchez starts it off. Garcia, one-hand push-up dig there by Goaz. The pipe just not there. Libero. Oh, there's a push. I'd love to see that in slow motion.
Yeah, interesting to see Poglehan stay on the floor, number 6.
Poglehan is in the lineup for Lima.
Lima had some reception difficulties in the match, particularly very late. Volunteers working very hard to keep the floor clean. These athletes are very, very wet at this point in the fourth set of the match. It's extremely hot and humid in this rather old hockey rink. It's a beautiful setup for volleyball and a fabulous court, but we could use a little bit of AC to keep us going.
Good up there. Oh, almost a spectacular recovery by Puerto Rico. Polahan trusting that ball would still go wide, but the angle that came across was the only, maybe a ball wide.
Yeah, incredible recovery and effort to keep that ball alive because it was almost behind the official's back.
The Checo getting the ace off the Puerto Rican receiver, Guzman.
The Checo going to work on the baseline, taking care of business.
Argentina punctuating this start of this first match, saying maybe we shouldn't be here. 3-0, that magic call.
And the tables have turned. Last set, what did we see? 3-0 for Puerto Rico, and Julio Velasquez immediately called timeout. Now the tables are reversed, 3-0 for Argentina, and Ramon Hernandez wants to talk things over.
So Argentina maybe stung a little there and trying to make a point. I'm sure, as we've said, this preparation for their South American Championships, they expected to come in and cruise, and this speed bump is not what they were looking for. Not just that, but what you mentioned earlier, Brenda, these athletes were prepared when they got up this morning to play at 5 p.m. and we didn't start till well after 7. They're feeling the day is getting awfully long for them, as is Puerto Rico. Canada, Julien Boucher told me, delayed their bus by 40 minutes when they knew of the delays going on. So I'm sure the same here, but it's more the meals and being awake and all of that preparation that is fatiguing.
I think experienced teams learn how to manage the disruptions and changes in the schedule much more than the young teams. That was Maurice Torres going for hands and missing wide. And we now have a 4-0 lead.
The Checo with the tough serve off the tape. But Guzman replies with the tough swing off the block all the way across court and out of bounds.
Yes, Guzman stops the bleeding at now 1-4. And they'll bleed once again as the set moves to a 1-5. Yeah. Poglehan, handled by De Valle.
Poglehan facing the hitter, and that ball going well out of bounds.
And Guzman bringing heat, can't be handled by the Argentinian defense.
So now we're going to trade shots for a while. It looks like Puerto Rico has settled back in. Argentina's coming out of the gates quickly. Very deep in their receive is Argentina. and just back up. Guzman with a poor receiver. Torres will get a swing. Argentina rejects. Boaz goes all the way back to Guzman, and he uses the block out of bounds. So again, side-out volleyball going on here in Gatineau.
And a great job by De Valle, the little libero, who came all the way across from 5 to provide offensive coverage in position 2.
Guzman with the serve. Ball is picked up off the block. Goaz goes fast outside to Sanchez. Tracked down well out of bounds by Argentina. Look at that set from DeCecco. That is incredible. From back left to front left. And Bruno says, once again, thank you, man, DeCecco.
That is just sugar. I mean, sugar and honey. Honest to God, that is the most beautiful thing.
For those of you who do not know Brenda well, setting is one of her loves and passions in this sport. And to watch a maestro like DeCecco right now is making the delayed ride home maybe a little easier to take.
The Da Vinci of setting.
The Da Vinci, I like that. DeCecco Da Vinci. Ramos. Passed outside to Sanchez, and the block, Drisole drifts right, but he ends up on the other side of DeCecco, so he was jumping in transition.
Sanchez bringing a lot of heat there. He's still got a fair bit in the tank, so they'll be looking to go to him a little bit more.
Puerto Rico stacking up in the middle of the court with a big thump. But
like your T formation rather than an I formation.
Try to fill all the seams with bodies to interfere with the receiver's view of the server, but with a high spin serve toss, you're going to see contact anyways, so it's more of a psychological thing.
Right, and Argentina now takes a 4-point lead as they've broken away 8-4 at this first technical timeout. We're in the 4th set of this best-of-5 match. Argentina took the first 2 by sets of 25-23 and 25-18. They then dropped the 3rd set, 23-25, on a controversial line call, and here we are in the 4th. They're up 8-4. Of course, this goes to 25 as well, and you have to win by 2. And should we go to a 5th set, Kerry, we'll run it to 15 points with no cap and also winning by 2.
No possibility for a coin toss here?
I wondered if they could play a 2 out of 3 given the late hour, but...
there you go. Yeah. The dynamics of international men's volleyball, number of times we've seen teams go down 2-0 and come back and win the match. It's the old saying about the sport. Even though we changed to rally point, it's still never over till it's over.
The one good thing about the change to rally point, I reckon back to a match we had at Queen's with the University of Toronto in the late 90s, which was an hour and 10 minutes in with a 3-1 score.
Yes. When we think back, those of us who fell in love with the game, we fell in love with the beauty and athleticism of the game, and I don't think we really realized what was happening. Told me that their video was watched and scored to prove a point in the old scoring system, and it would have been 8-7, and the crowd would have been sitting back waiting for something to happen instead. And you were here that night as well. This arena was rocking from about 20 all for 45 straight rallies. The place erupted after every rally, and that sold me on rally point right there. That
was a big match. I was courtside keeping stats, but it was really a sentimental match for me. David Cantor, an 8-year member of the national team. He'd been a workhorse for the program for many years. Finally got his first big start in that game and played the entire match, and they won over Brazil, which was a huge upset. It was so exciting.
And David, of course, being an alumnus of Queen's University, where Brenda here, will that be it?
Yes, Carrie, that's right.
30 wonderful years. How's that?
31, and I hope to be involved in the program in some capacity, depending on who the hire is. Certainly, when you invest that much of your life into something, you want to.
Well, I know what you feel.
Want to stay affiliated.
I've just finished my 32nd year with the Maverick Volleyball Club, and it seems like it's got a hold of me. There's no getting away.
I will retire from Queen's University, but I won't retire from volleyball.
It's in the blood. Great swing out of the right side there by Poglahen. 100% certain if the G is silent. Poglahen? We'll go with it. And a big swing there. Great serve. 2 touches, only a foot off the floor, and Puerto Rico gives up the free ball. Argentina is dug in the back row. Guzman, cross court, out of bounds, no touch. Point Argentina. They now lead 12-8.
Once again, Poglahen putting the ball in play.
Great serve, but handled beautifully by Devalle. That ball long. Puerto Rico. Bruno pointing up, not saying that I touched it. He's pointing up going, that's our point.
Yeah, pipe ball goes long. And now the lead is 5.
Poglahen did not start the match, but has come on to play very well for Argentina. Serve. Very powerful. Guzman, speaking of powerful, puts that away.
Guzman does an awesome job of cutting the ball down inside. Anytime the middle blocker is late and there's a seam, he finds that hole. Very, very effective on the cross court.
Oh, a little vocal addition to Torres' serve, but Bruno, I guess, hits the ball from behind him, cross body, and in the seam or back door.
Yeah, down the line by, was it Bruno?
Yeah.
Bruno, pinky down shot, really good deep shot, hard to defend.
Crere, the jump float. Tumbles down nicely. Goaz reverses. That looks like it was a line violation. Not going to be called, I'm positive. Not seen there as Torres' toes seem to be on the 3 meter line.
He definitely foot faulted Velasquez. We should give him a whistle.
Yeah,
I think anytime he gets upset, he's usually right.
Andrew Robb not looking our way for any help. Andrew, a fantastic official out of Toronto, Ontario, recently moved to the international level and doing a great job, from what I'm told, at all of his tournaments.
Yes,
4 years now?
I think so.
Yeah, that's awesome for Andrew. He has worked very, very hard, not only on and around the court, but in support of all the officials in Ontario and Canada. So congratulations to Andrew for the rewards of all the hard effort. Goaz back quick. Beautifully run between Bruno and Sole.
The one thing that Argentina is doing that I'm not sure the strategy is Del Valle is being served at fairly consistently. And I mean, there's only one reason he's out there.
Yeah,
and he's
responding.
been a reception machine.
He's responding very well, and he is the receiving libero, whereas Cabrera is the defensive libero. Speaking of liberos, what a great pass by Garcia as he falls, keeps his platform in a perfect position and delivers a strike to his setter, Checo, and Argentina scores, making it 16-11 at the second technical, and I sense that they are trying to emphatically make a point here to Puerto Rico.
I think we'll take the opportunity to acknowledge our sponsors one last time tonight, Kerry.
We hope one last time.
Well, it's the last time I'm going to read this script.
Puerto Rico doesn't hope, and the Puerto Rican fans listening to me, I apologize, but it is getting late.
Volleyball Canada would like to thank their funding partners for their support of this event. The Government of Canada, the Government of Quebec, and the City of Gatineau. Interpipeline, our platinum sponsor. Thank you for giving our athletes a competitive advantage. And Mizuno, the official supplier of apparel and footwear to Team Canada Volleyball.
Excellent. Well done. Checking out all the banners around the arena with all of the sponsors and more. Volleyball Canada. The Union Panamericana Volleyball would be the actual association around Pan Am Volleyball, while Norseca has been assigned the host duties. We mentioned never hosted by a South American country, only Norseca. Oh, sprawled out is the valet. Argentina not happy that a non-setter in Burgos got away with that ball. But again, not a lot of ball handling been called throughout the tournament.
Velasquez just shaking his head and grabbing his head. And
yeah, he can't believe this. And of course, he'll go back down to South America, and there'll be discussions about the officiating. Poglahen. Oh, back bump C ball from the maestro. And my partner here has her hands in the air going, I don't believe what I just saw.
Well, I'm often saying to my setters, if you're going to be in that position, you have to go with a high percentage play. But they don't have the skill set of DeCecco.
Oh, DeValle playing a ball that may have gone out off the block. The back row pipe emphatically ending the rally for Puerto Rico. So DeValle making sure that that ball didn't drop in potentially on the line.
Guzman is just fired up. He is on fire.
Sanchez, Guzman's opposite hitter. Straight ahead down the line. There's another C ball. Oh, the chicken wing dig by Puerto Rico. Poglahen finished it off, but right there, Cabrera sticking the elbow up to make the dig.
And we have a substitution on the play.
Lopez will replace Sanchez in the back row, and conventional thinking would be to shore up either passing or defense.
They're down 5.
Off speed by DeCecco. Goaz goes the back quick again to Burgos, and he finds the seam.
That's a great connection there.
That back quick has worked very well for the Puerto Ricans. Tough ball when the setter cannot actually see the position of his middle blocker. Poglahen taking that ball when he's not part of the receive, but Argentina scores nonetheless.
Frere muscling his way through the hands down into the net.
Gonzalez coming off the court like he's, as a 39-year-old, he's not happy to be playing this fourth set right now, and he wants to get it over with. Poglahen on top of that ball wide.
That crossbody swing just a little too wide.
Substitution quickly picking up the paddle, and coming in is Maldonado. He sprinted up the sideline, took the paddle from an assistant coach's hands, much like a relay runner would, and comes in for Goaz. So we now have no setter on the floor again for Puerto Rico. And this is all about defense right now. Puerto Rico trying to win with the block. One rally. Torres unleashes a bomb, but it's just long. All the Argentinians let him know, and now Iglesias will complete the second half of the double substitution and take over as the setter. Again, a risk-reward situation. We haven't seen too many times where a team has won that rally where there's no setter on the floor.
Valet again.
And he's just in the right spot for that deep coverage. DeCecco not happy with his dig. Bruno pushing off the hands. Guzman picks it up. Oh, Iglesias with a nice spinning back set, but unfortunately Maldonado unable to finish the play, and Argentina gets the point.
The Valet, tremendous effort, 3 times full sprawl on the court, different facets of the game. Got his fingers on that offensive coverage ball way on the other side, but couldn't control it.
The young, he looks like a young setter, Iglesias. He looks fairly smooth. We don't have the birth dates for Argentina on hand, but he looks like he may be the heir apparent there for Goaz.
Although Goaz is only, Goaz, sorry,
Right.
yeah. Getting late, Kerry.
Yeah.
I'll dig it out for you.
It's just a hunch, but I've been off before. The Dominican right here. So Iglesias. How about if I pull my glass? Oh, Dominican. Well, I need Puerto Rico.
That's what I thought.
Speaking of late, here we go. Ball muscled up to the net, and then Maldonado, but it's picked up deep in the court. DeCecco giving way to that, saying there's no need to get that over. So we're going to let that heir apparent thing go because we don't have the statistical information. And we're going to see Sanchez come back into the game in the front row, underscoring the Lopez substitution as being a back row emphasis. So Puerto Rico now having used 4 of their 6 substitutions. Oh, DeCecco, and that unfortunately was just a little low, but clever set. That's going to put Argentina into that. Now, does the coach seems to be talking to DeCecco
Yeah.
about maybe, you know what, we have a lead, let's just stick to it.
Not get too fancy.
Yeah, because that was, again, I mean, when you have that much talent, you kind of want to push the boundary and see what you can do.
And they do have a 4-point lead at 21-17, so not risking too much yet.
Argentina trying to get right back on the court, being told to wait for instructions.
At the end of this match, whether it's after this set or the next, there will be a closing ceremony. All teams were asked to arrive in their warm-up suits. I notice a lot of them aren't wearing them right now because they're plenty warm without them, but we will see a formal march in at the end.
Great pass by Poglahen. Ball dug up off the arm of Ramos and going outside to Bruno. Guzman unable to get the hands up fast enough to stop that one.
Argentinians all business at this point, looking to close things out.
This very similar to the lead up to the Olympics for Argentina, where Canada had Dan Lewis on the receive and young Blair Bond as the defensive libero, and Blair taking over as the #1 in the World League this year.
And Blair Band winning top libero, actually.
At the World League? I was unaware of that. Congratulations to Blair. Excellent work. Touch off the block. Puerto Rico trying to sell.
Graham Vigras making the World League All-Star team as well.
Graham Vigras, a stable force in the middle now for Canada. A position that, as they climbed the ladder, was turned over to many, many players, from Adam Simak, who you worked with, to a couple of the Trinity Western players. But Vigras doing the job.
Yes, and Justin Duff, recovering from injury, wasn't even part of that roster, and he adds a tremendous amount of experience and physicality to the roster as well, so
yes,
we're very deep in the middle.
Big part of why Canada got to the Olympics and their success was Justin Duff.
So our standard double sub again with Cavana coming in for Ramos, and DeCecco will take a seat as well.
This is all happening on the Argentinian side. You're looking at the Puerto Rican side as they await floor moppers now who are cleaning up, and Argentina will now settle into their serve receive. And there's the initiation of serve.
So Argentina is 2 points away from shutting this match down.
Received just out the right side of the court. Long is Bruno. No touch call, although Argentina trying to sell that, just as Puerto Rico did on the last point. No buyers to that sale. Long, that's one of the two. And now Argentina has a huge 5-point cushion. That was easy. Between the 5-hole. Right there, that down the line through the wickets of Fernandez. And we'll play at least one more here, 2024. We'll see Maldonado on the baseline. Oh, off-speed shot trying to fool Argentina. DeCecco not being fooled, gives it to Dariadu, and he finished, sorry, not DeCecco, but Cabana. Puerto Rico, their only blemish of the tournament being the third set of this match.
There you have it. Puerto Rico takes second place. Cuba third. Canada fourth. The USA fifth. The Dominican sixth place. Venezuela seventh. And Mexico eighth. On behalf of Carrie McLean, this is Brenda Willis coming to you through ISI Live on cbc.ca. Thank you very much for watching and have a wonderful week.